as you all can see, we're graced by another presence that's not typically on our podcast. And also, just in case, you're new to the family also, I'm Kay.
I'm Kim.
And this guy.
I'm Monty.
Nice.
Hello.
Yes, so I'm not sure if you all remember or have watched yet our podcast about how I was engaged and getting married soon. Well, if you have, and if you have not, this is my husband, Montarius. Or Monty, whatever he wants to call himself right now.
His name is Monty. He said his name is Monty.
He did say that. We can go with that. Cool. Yeah. And today, actually, we're going to be talking about something pretty related to marriage. Well, I guess it is about marriage. But in particular, actually, this concept about marriage as this fortress for well-being and what that means to each of us, and also how we came to, what do you call it? Learn about this concept, yeah. So I don't know how y'all want to start or who wants to start, but I like to think that I already talked a lot, so somebody else.
Well, I'll say that when I think about the quotation, marriage is a fortress for well-being, I just think about the unit of marriage, the unit of the bride and groom coming together, and their unit creates like a fortress or a community for well-being. Well, the term well-being is kind of self-explanatory, but the institution or the basic, when God created Adam and Eve, he put them together. And that was like the first relationship, the first bond, the first marriage. And out of that connection, we get the family unit. And I think that marriage is ordained by God. And I think that it is to provide support, not just support for the bride and the groom, but support for their family, support for the children that are to come, for the children that are already present, because McKaylee has nieces, Montarius has family members, and I think that, Monty, I'm sorry. That's my first time probably saying Montarius. That's crazy. But they have family members, and everyone is going to benefit from their fortress.
What does the fortress for well-being mean to you? Or marriage as one, rather?
Over the past few weeks, we've been studying about marriage and like this idea that is a fortress of well-being. And one thing that really stood out to me from the first time I learned about it in this way is that usually marriage is seen as a thing where two people come together. But it's been stated that this isn't just two people coming together, but two families coming together. And really having that as the focal point of your thoughts when you get married is very important, because you're not just it's fine if my parents don't like this person because I like them. But it's really crucial for the entire family to be connected and have this love for one another, where it's whenever problems do arise, they can all support each other and help each other, rather than it's I told you that person wasn't good from you from the start. So it's really important to have this connection between every member of the family, and it helps build this unit, which is very beautiful, which is a building block of a wider community.
So what about you, McKaylee?
So for me, when I think about marriage as a fortress for well-being and what that analogy kind of means, I typically just think about how, obviously both of you all touched on it a little bit, but just how a fortress is something that protects you from things. I particularly think of it for whatever reason in war terms, but in like if you're in a fortress, you're like protected from whatever's outside of it. And I think it was helpful also, like when we were studying about it, to think about it like how, one union is like provides this fortress for like a whole community, and what that kind of means. And for me personally, what I think about is just like how, because like marriage is like a divinely ordained institution, it's something that I feel like when two souls come together in unity and their families are behind them especially, and their goal is really to like try to support each other, I think that like the spiritual forces that kind of creates, and that unity and that shared vision of trying to work together really like spreads out to the community, whether or not they do it intentionally or not. But then even especially if they are trying to be intentional about like, forming friendships and relationships in their community, I just think about how that protects from, so many things like loneliness, or even just like, I don't know, just things, just because there's that like, because as individuals, it's kind of harder sometimes to like, I guess, be conscious of the change we're trying to affect in our community. But then like, if there's like some souls that, are already are kind of committed to this, it creates a possible opportunity for regular reflection that sometimes as an individual, maybe you just don't for a while. Maybe like you set out to like do something in your community, and then if like no one in your community is supporting you, it just can go very long before you're like, oh yeah, that goal I had. But then like if there's this union, it can support the whole community because there's like this regular reflection, or there's opportunity for it at least. To say like, okay, how are we like, aiding our community, our families, whatever. That was long-winded, and I'm not even sure if it was very clear. But that's what I think about when I think about marriage. That's the fortress, yeah.
Okay, and this concept of marriage being a fortress for well-being, we got it from the book 12. Mm-hmm. It was written by, what's the name of it?
By the Ruhi Institute.
Okay. And I learned about book 12 a few months ago. Mm-hmm. Probably around the summertime, I think you first mentioned it. And I told Michaelia that I wanted to study the book 12 also. What's the title of the book? I know it's book 12, but it's specifically for marriage.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the first unit is called. Is it just called marriage? I think so, yeah. There's like 3 units, and right now we're studying unit 1, which is titled marriage.
Okay.
I think.
So, Michaelia mentioned the book to me around the summertime, and I told her that I wanted to participate in the study. And so right before her and Monty got married, we started studying it together. Mm-hmm. And it really was very insightful because, to Monty's point, a lot of times in general, we think about marriage and relationships as, oh, that's between him and her, mm-hmm. or her and him. But the concept in the book was that, as he said, it's one, we're all going to be married to each other, basically, because his family is marrying my family.
That's true.
And we're going to be one family. And just studying it and reading it and just thinking about how they really focus on a spiritual connection. It really blessed me, for one. Because a lot of times in relationships, we don't think about spiritual connections. It's all physical. I was attracted to him. He was attracted to me. But we know anything with a physical connotation will not last if that's the foundation of it. Because once that physical connection goes away, you have to have something foundational. And so in the book, in book 12, it taught that you need to have a spiritual connection so that it will last forever. Basically, I think it was even when you get to heaven or something, it was saying it will last for eternity. That was the quote. And like I said, that was very insightful. And so leading up to the wedding, we were studying this book 12, and every week I just came away from the study with a new insight, with a new revelation, and it really gave me a lot to think about. And so on the wedding day, I was just really happy to know that I have a new family. You know, Monty's mom, that's my sister, you know, and all his aunties, everybody just was walking up to me, introducing themselves. And it was very, beautiful. It was very warm. It was just a wonderful experience. So I'm happy that I was able to study the book 12 with you guys. Thank you for letting me come along in your journey. And I'm just looking forward to just continuing to see, even at the wedding, I think I made a comment to you guys. I saw your fortress. You know, everybody came together. Everybody had the same common goal. And it was basically to support you guys. We had photographers. We had people that did not have experience catering. We had servers. We had a cleanup crew. We just had everybody collectively came together as a community to support you guys. And that was your fortress. And so it was beautiful.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Sorry about that. My eczema is flaring up. Yeah. We're still not finished with our study of book 12, but we're going to be wrapping up soon, I think.
You said that's just the first unit?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's 2 other units. One is about, parenting.
Yes.
And then one is about... Does a 3rd unit exist?
I think it's about community.
Oh, nice.
I'm not sure. What did you like from book 12?
What did I like from it?
Yes.
I think my favorite section in book 12 was the one that talked about how I don't want to word it wrong, but I don't have it memorized, and so therefore I will word it wrong. Sorry. But you all should totally look it up. It's from the Baha'i writings, so maybe just search the gist of what I say plus Baha'i writings, and then if you see something on Baha'i Reference Library, then that will be legit. Anything else on anywhere else might not be legit. But anyways, there was some section where we were basically talking about misconceptions with relationships. And I thought it was really interesting, or I think it was more specifically about what love is, actually. And there's this really interesting quote that talked about how for true love to exist, it has to originate from a love of God. And I thought it was interesting because, I don't know, I always found myself feeling kind of like I want to say, not to be cliche type of thing when I talk about God, but it's so funny. Anyways, I was just thinking about how it makes so much sense because literally all of the writings from that connect us to God, from the Bible or from the Baha'i writings or from the Quran, they all talk about how God's love for us is infinite and that he created us in his perfect image, in this way that's very noble and to, carry forward bettering the world. So all very positive things, right? And then somehow in our interaction with each other, sometimes it can just be very easy to be this is a terrible person I'm looking at. They make terrible choices. I hate them, whatever. Or the opposite. I love this person. They do everything right. It's great. But just as my mom said, all those things, everything that's about a person and how they carry themselves, it all can be temporary. One day I can be so great and then Monteris can just love me so much and it's amazing. But then maybe another day I maybe don't do everything right. And if our love for each other is only conditional or based on our own perceptions of, each other as humans, then it's really hard to really have unconditional love in the way that we're told that we're capable of having. And so interesting. I just really love that section because it made me think about all the media. I'm really into media and movies and stuff. And I was just bro, there's no movies just about where love of God is mentioned as a thing, in a way that connects to a romance between 2 people. So I just thought that was super interesting. 'Cause I was bro, if people knew this, like, it would really change, like, a lot. Like, I feel like, because like, I assume, from what I see, it feels like people in relationships, for the most part, want things to work out. You know, they go into them thinking the person is pretty cool, you know, wanting to see it go somewhere. And then somehow, you know, just human nature, we don't do everything perfectly. And then, like, things kind of end up wonky. And for me, it's not even, like, about things end up wonky. It's more so, like, when things end, like, very dramatically and, like, now you hate each other and whatever. And I just think about, like, if they understood that it's actually impossible to love this person truly if you don't, like, see God in them or see the fact that God created them and you, and, like, you're both imperfect, it's, like, so much harder. I was just like, dang, people, they should know this. So that section really stood out to me.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And I think even take it a step further, until I was able to have love for God, I did not know how to love myself. So I think that once you have that intimate relationship with the Creator, He's able to show you how to love yourself and what to expect in return from someone that's telling you that they love you. And like Michaela said, we're all imperfect people. Everybody has a thought in their mind about how they want things to go. And then once somebody goes off script,
yeah,
you want to just throw it all away. But if we have that foundation of spirit, it does allow you to extend grace. It does allow you to say, well, you know, even though they made that bad decision, I still love them. I'm still going to support them. I'm still going to stick it out and stay here with them. Versus the world and that physical connection is like, girl, they messed up, throw it away, start over.
Right.
You know, and I think that is something that was great for me to learn that also in book 12. I want to talk about my favorite part of book 12.
Please do.
Oh my goodness. There was a part, and I'm not going to quote it right either, but I'm just going to paraphrase it and give you what I got out of it.
We're going to put some footnotes in the caption.
So there was a part basically that was talking about when two people make the commitment to love each other with a spiritual connection, not just a physical one, how they'll be harmonious. And there was one particular word that stood out to me and it was warble. And in my mind, I just hear like birds, like melodiously singing and chirping to each other. When I hear the word warble, that's what I think about. But the concept was saying that if two people really make the commitment to love each other spiritually, then they would basically live a harmonious life in this world and in the eternal one. And then it talked about if they don't commit to loving each other spiritually, how they would be miserable in heaven. Like, I was like, what? But basically it's saying, you know, when you're not interested in fully giving yourself to the thought of loving in a spiritual connection. That's my interpretation. I don't know if I'm right, but when it said that they would be miserable in heaven, I was like, oh, wow. Miserable on earth and in heaven. I was like, that's something.
Yeah.
No, I think that was about choosing the right person. I believe it said something.
Huh?
I can't remember. I'm sorry, guys. We had to figure it out. Kayla put the footnotes in this.
Yeah. What was that about?
Do you have a book? We're not going to pull out the book.
I don't have the book.
But it was book 12.
With you right now? In the car or right here? Oh. Anyways. Yeah, we'll put the footnote. But yeah, that part was pretty crazy. I'm not sure. That's a good distinction. I'm not sure if it was about... Because now that you say that, I feel like it might have been in the section around.
They're not both willing to make I don't know. I don't want to keep talking about it because I can't really remember.
Yeah. And I think you're on the right path, though. I think that's what it was about. I think it was, when I think of it, that section, I remember it being kind of like both parties making the effort to be harmonious. Because if both parties do not put this effort, they'll be miserable in this world and the next. And even though it sounded crazy, it also made a lot of sense because, like, yeah, if you're not trying to put in effort and y'all are married and you're like living together, it's gonna be pretty hard, I imagine, to like live a life that's comfortable if y'all like refuse to put in effort, you know? And then if your life is miserable here, how would it get magically better after you pass away? Probably wouldn't.
I can't imagine being miserable in heaven, though. That's, ooh. You better marry the right one. You better marry somebody that's willing to put in the work. That's all I can say. Monty, what was your favorite part of book 12?
My favorite part of book 12 were the parts that were like giving examples of like things that couples go through in their daily life. Whether it's like a friend is visiting and the husband is spending more time with his college friend than with his wife, and then the wife goes to sleep early because she's like, she doesn't feel like she's a part of the friend group and things like that. That was my favorite part because it was nice to just like think about these things in like a more reality-based sense. Because it's easy to see things as like how they can be, but it's like it makes it easier when you can like see the steps of how to get there as well, rather than just like the end of what you want it to be, but how the path to get to that point. And yeah, I was just thinking about like the points that were made earlier about the love of God and like how when people make mistakes, you can forgive them if you love them. Those are like two things that always stand out to me about love. And like one being like, for the love of God, God wants us to love everyone because he created them. So it's like no matter who they are or what they do, just like loving them is like very important, and that like relates to this quote. Let your heart burn with love and kindness for all who may cross your path. And there's this other, not sure if it was like a quote or something someone said, but it was like, if someone has 10 great qualities and one bad one, focus on the 10. And if they have like 10 bad qualities and one good one, focus on that one good quality. Because it allows you to like show forth like this habit of like looking past the things that people do that could be like mistakes or like wrongdoings. But not in a way where it's like you're just like blindly like, I don't see what you're doing wrong, but like in a way that's like you love them for all the good that they do,
right?
But you don't like judge them for the wrong things, but you will still have like this spirit of like support and helpfulness for them if they ever come to you seeking help. So like when I think about love, I think about those two aspects. So
yeah, and I can't say when we were participating in the book 12 study, every time Monterius answered, I was like, wow.
That's cute.
He really gave good answers, very insightful, with a lot of substance. So that was one of my fond experiences of studying book 12. Waiting to see what Monty was going to say.
That's funny. That's cute. What do y'all think it means for marriage to be a fortress of well-being? Let us know in the comments. Sorry, that was a lame wink. My bad. To all of those that had to witness it.
A lame wink.
Yeah, it was bad.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. We are going to continue figuring it out with you.
As always.
Don't forget to drop your comments below.